Welcome back. We'll discuss certain issues that everybody is generally facing, and we'll take some questions also. ಊಟ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿತ್ತು. So we have to fight the sleep to be able to attend this second session. But the issues that we have to discuss are extremely important. Can a show cause notice be served by email? Is it sufficient? Can an order be served on portal, and is it sufficient? Section 169 specifies 14 different ways in which a notice can be served. Just because the notice is served online or through the portal, it does not mean that the notice has been served until it has reached the assessee. A person who is in the IT sector, he may receive notices sent by email or by portal. But if a person who never uses IT in the course of his business, let's say a contractor, to send it by email does not satisfy the requirements of law. But officer will say, I have sent by email, you should have checked your email to verify whether any notice has been sent. We should not worry, because officer's job is to say he has sent the notice. That is why we have to file a reply. We have received your notice dated so and so on so and so date. I will give you one example. This is in service tax. In 2015, we filed a reply to a notice, attended the hearing in Chennai. In 2020, the client shifted the office. When the client shifted the office, one letter was filed for change of address. At that time, question was asked to the department, where is this, what happened to this show cause notice? Have you passed any order? Department gave a reply saying, in 2015 itself, we have passed the order, you have not collected it. In 2020, we filed an appeal to the tribunal against this order, stating, order dated July 2015, received in January 2020. We received in January 2020. They have passed order in 2015 July. We filed appeal in the tribunal, and nobody objected. When we go to file, nobody objected. You are saying you received it today. We will accept it. If the government objects that it was already sent in 2017 and you have delayed to file the appeal, at that time we will see the case. Please keep in mind, appellate authority do not care what the lower authority has done. Appellate authority do not care what the jurisdictional officer has done in the adjudication order. Appellate authority will focus on how he will pass the order without taking unnecessary risk. If you say that you have received the order in 2020, he will accept it. So the client was asking, what if the department dismisses the appeal filed in the tribunal? The question to ask the department is, if really you have sent the order in 2015, what recovery action you have taken for 5 years? You have prepared the order, kept in the file, forgotten to send it by post. Till we asked for it, you have not dispatched. Otherwise, you have to take recovery action. In GST, there is section 78 and 79. 78 says you have to wait for 3 months. I'll give you an example. best judgment assessment was passed under section 62 for not filing the returns. 25 lakhs liability was calculated because under best judgment, worst judgment will be done. 62(2) specifies that when a best judgment order is passed, you have to file valid returns. Then the order is deemed to be vacated. We never knew that an order is passed. 3 months to file appeal in GST, also passed. 1 month to condone the delay, that is also crossed. We filed appeal with 794 days delay. So the clerk in the Joint Commissioner's office in Davangere, he said, you are filing the appeal after 794 days, I don't accept your appeal. What you will do? The clerk in the office says, you are filing the appeal after please see in APL 1, the form for preferring appeal, in serial number 16, it says, is the appeal filed with a delay? If you say yes, appeal will be dismissed. We received it only when we received it last month. So we filed table number 16. Is the appeal filed with a delay? No. Table number 17A, number of days delay, 0. We filed appeal. The clerk said, you cannot file appeal after 794 days. What you can do about this? We told the clerk, you are a clerk. You are not Joint Commissioner Appeals. Your job is to put the seal. You receive the appeal, seal the copy, you send it to the Joint Commissioner Appeals. If Joint Commissioner Appeals wants to dismiss the appeal, let him decide. You don't do the job of Joint Commissioner Appeals. You understand? If we decide to be afraid of the officer, we don't see difference between clerk, receiving section clerk and additional commissioner, isn't it? So we told him you have to, so he went to the Joint Commissioner. Sir, even if you have noticed, let me tell you that there is a delay of 794 days. He called me clerk, he told me to shut up and do my job. So Joint Commissioner Appeals fixed a hearing. First point, JC is saying, your appeal is time barred, you are filing the appeal delayed. So we replied saying that we received it last month, there is no delay. So there is now an argument whether the date of the order is to be accepted or the date given by the assessee is to be accepted. Before going into that argument, we told the Joint Commissioner Appeals, sir, there is 40 lakhs liability. There is 40 lakhs liability. Best judgment assessment is arrived at a liability of only 25 lakhs. You decide what you want to do. You dismiss the appeal, I will pay 25 lakhs. You allow the appeal, I will pay 40 lakhs. Joint Commissioner Appeals started thinking what to do. So he said, delay condoned, appeal admitted. Now in the appeal, our point was, if you allow me to file the appeal, file my returns, I will discharge my liability. He cancelled the best judgment order, allowed us to file the appeal, file the returns. We filed the returns with 38 lakhs ITC, 2 lakhs payment in cash. Please bear in mind, we have to understand who has the power to decide what question. Peon, lift operator, driver in the department. Once we decide to say Namaskara sir, we will say Namaskara right from the lift operator level. We don't see any difference who is the person. If we decide that we will follow the law, there is no need to say Namaskara to additional commissioner also. Be respectful, but no need to prostrate in front of anybody. So visualize it from that point of view. We'll see some examples. Some of the examples that we see where issues are being faced. In GST, rectification is not allowed. 5 years of GST, still we are giving representation that rectification is not allowed. Department has now issued a concept paper on GSTR 3B, how they will allow rectification. Even there is no rectification. You understand? So we have to recognize that there are two aspects to rectify: output tax, ITC. Everything else doesn't matter. Output tax, ITC. If output tax has to be rectified, you have a higher liability. Is there any time limit when you have to pay that higher liability? To pay tax, there is no time limit. Whenever you want, you can pay the tax. Department sent a notice in service tax. Please produce last 7 years accounts. Assessee prepared covering letter. Please find attached 5 years accounts and submitted it. Officer said, why you are not submitted the other 2 years records? What you are going to do with additional 2 years? Your power is only 5 years. You only verify 5 years. Don't bother about beyond 5 years. Output tax, whenever you want, you can rectify with interest. Input tax credit, please keep section 16.4 in mind. So the first question I will take up is 16.4, what we have to do. This will make all the sleep go away, unless somebody has already gone asleep. Alright? Now in 16.4, the basic requirement in the rule, in the provision is that you should claim ITC before October 20th. In the simplest form, it says before October 20th, you have to claim ITC. But in explaining October 20th, it is stated in the returns filed within the due date of September returns, isn't it? I'll give you one example and one answer. I have filed April to March returns. I have purchases. I have taken ITC April to March. There is one invoice for the month of March. There is one invoice for the month of March. I am eligible for ITC, but I have forgotten to take ITC. There is one invoice for the month of March. Supplier has given an invoice. I have paid 50,000 rupees GST. I have not included it in March return. What I can do? In December, I come to know that this invoice has been omitted. When you file GSTR 3B, which ITC is taken in which month, where is it specified? 3B should not be more than 2B, but 3B can be less than 2B. 3B cannot be more than 2B, but 3B can be less than 2B. If 3B is less than 2B in 1 month, can it be more than 2B in the next month? Of course it can be, because 36.4 cannot override 16.4, because I am allowed to take the credit in any month, not later than the returns filed for the month of September. First point. Second point, March return I have filed in December. We will assume March return I have filed in December. I filed March return in December with late fees or without late fees? With late fees, along with interest. When I paid late fees in December, did I file December return or March return? 16.4 says in the returns filed after September, I cannot claim this in October return. But in December, what I have filed is not December return, it is March return. Then what for you collected late fees? Interest I have paid. If the March return filed in October is defective, then why is it valid for output tax but defective only for ITC? For these two reasons, 16.4 is admissible. I will give one illustration. You are aware 71AA has been inserted from 1st July 17 on 1st January 22. Clubs and associations are liable to pay output tax on membership payments received from members with retrospective effect from 1st July 2017. When did this amendment get notified? 1st January 22. Now let us say there is a club in Udupi. They are not paid any GST from 17 to 21. 22 January, they come to know about this amendment being notified. On 20th February, they are filing their first return. 20th of February 22, they are filing the first return. This return, is it January return or July 17 return? On 20th February, when they are filing a return, are they filing January return or are they filing July 17 return? When 71AA was amended, any amendment was made in 16.4 in respect of taxpayers liable to tax under 71AA. ITC will be allowed for them under 16.4. Is there any saving provision made in 16.4? Why it is not made? It is not made because it is not required to be made. February 20th, when you are filing a return, you are filing July 17, August 17, September 17, up to January 22 returns, you are filing for the first time. So claim all the ITC in February 20. See, making an amendment is a proof that that amendment was necessary before that date. Not making an amendment is also proof that credit is allowable. For club and association, if you will give the ITC in February 20, why you will not give ITC for anyone filing the March return in December? So 16.4 is allowed. Now tell me, will your jurisdictional officer understand all this? He is doing BA, you are BCom. Therefore, he will not understand this question. What you are going to file reply in 16.4? For 16.4 show cause notices, my reply is short as other cases. The demand is contrary to law. Kindly dispose the kindly drop the demand. Thank you. What he will do? He will not agree. Okay. If I give 100-page reply, do you think he will agree? If anyway he is not going to agree, why you are giving 100-page reply? Because you want to send a big bill to your client. You want to impress the client what has been done is not a mistake. Please be very careful. Nobody less than the tribunal is going to allow you the benefit. But you have to keep the patient alive. You have to file appeal. You have to keep the case going till it reaches tribunal. And there are 1,000 cases filed ready in Bangalore before your case comes up in tribunal. So don't worry, file appeal, carry the matter up and wait for the tribunal to decide. Till you reach the tribunal, you have to pay 30%. You can pay 30% through that same ITC. What ITC they are demanding, on through that itself you can reverse and make a pre-deposit of 30% and wait for the matter to come up before the tribunal. Why should you give a short reply? I will give you one instance we have seen. Department gave 5-page letter, assessee filed 50-page reply, he got 60-page order. Second, when you give a detailed reply, it is easily possible to forget what not to include in the reply. See, when you are giving a reply, the tendency is to tell more than what is necessary. What is not there in the show cause notice also will be discussed. Now, when departmental officers come for training, 3 points are mentioned for them to be aware. Point number 1, whenever you send a notice and the assessee does not object to the validity of the notice, please make a note in the file that the protection under section 160 subsection 2 has not been taken by the taxpayer. Point number 2, in the notice many allegations will be made. 2A is not matching with 3B, therefore you are not eligible for ITC. The notice should not say 2A is not matching with 3B. Because 2A is not matching with 3B, you have not satisfied 16(2)(c), isn't it? 16(2)(c) is different from 36(4). Whenever a taxpayer does not object, it means he has accepted. If you see section 58 of Evidence Act, it says, facts not disputed do not require proof. So whenever you file a reply, file a short reply, file a long reply, very clearly you must say whether you admit the liability or reject the liability. You admit the facts or you reject the facts. You have claimed ITC, fact, I agree. You have claimed the credit contrary to 36(4), disputed. See, 16(2)(c) condition is applicable for 36(4) or 16(2)(a) is applicable for 36(4). So therefore, department also needs to be careful which ground they will take to dispute your liability. Why? 75(7) says the grounds on which the notice is given should be the same grounds on which order is passed. If the officer passes, and I'll give an example. Show cause notice says 2A not, ASMT 10 says 2A not matching with 3B. You have given some reply rejecting the demand. They have given a show cause notice under 73 saying 2A not matching with 3B, therefore you are liable to pay tax. You have not given a reply, they have confirmed the demand. While confirming the demand, the officer writes in the order that you have violated section 16(2)(a). Now in the appeal you will say 16(2)(a) was not existing in the show cause notice, it has been newly introduced in the order. What will the JC appeals have to say? JC appeals will have to agree that the order has travelled beyond the show cause notice. Drafting of show cause notice contains 90% of the mistakes to save the demand for the taxpayer in appeal. When you receive a notice, question the question before you answer the question is exactly for this reason. Allow the other side to commit mistakes. Allow the other side to. So the second point that departmental officers are taught is, please see if there is any admission made by the assessee or any allegation that is not disputed by the assessee. I reject it. If you don't say I reject it, it means you accept it. There is a brother and a sister, they are fighting, small children. The sister goes to the mother and says, Amma, Anna nanige bat alli hodadbitta. Amma, Anna nanige bat alli hodadbitta. Anna ಬಂದು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಬ್ಯಾಟಲ್ಲಮ್ಮ ನಾನು ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಹೊಡಿಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವುದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊಡೆದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ದಾನೆ ಅಂತ he has accepted. So please bear in mind, by your reply, it amounts to accepting certain allegations. The third aspect that officers are told to look in the reply is the assessee introducing any new information or material? Officer said, what is the service you are providing? I am providing renting of commercial complex service. Thank you. Assessee has accepted that they are providing renting of commercial complex service. Therefore, no exemption is available on that and hence tax is payable. Please be very careful. Do not allow the investigation to continue after the notice has been issued. Once the notice is issued, no new facts. No new facts. We have so much of answers. The student has prepared for a 20-mark question. That question is given in the question paper for 5 marks. He knows so much of information that even if it is for 5 marks, he starts writing 5 pages. You cannot do that. Limit the question. Limit the response to what question is put in the notice. Don't introduce new material. Whenever any amendment is made in the GST rates, tariff rates or exemption, what is the effective date? There is one tax practitioner who told the client, "Sir, I have to come and have a meeting with you because all the GST rates have changed. Notification has been issued on 13th of July. I want to come and meet you." The client said, "Not necessary. We have already made the changes." "How did you make the changes?" "Notification is issued only in 13th of July. Udaya News. I have heard the changes in the TV as soon as the GST Council passed the resolution. I have gone ahead and changed the rate in the software." Please bear in mind, taxpayer thinks there is no difference between GST Council resolution and tariff and the notification under the law. That is what sir was mentioning, that in Mohit Minerals, a very excellent judgment has been written on this question of what is the role of GST Council. Supreme Court has said GST Council, the job is to give recommendation. Once a recommendation is given, the center has to issue a notification, state has to issue a notification. So therefore, recommendations of the GST Council are not binding, but it is only a recommendation. Now you see, can the state, Karnataka state, go to the GST Council, approve a resolution and not issue a notification? Not possible, because in Karnataka GST Act under section 11(4), there is a provision which says whenever center gives an exemption, automatically the state rate also will stand exempted. So please be very careful. Effective date of any rate change will only be from the date of the notification. The notification recently issued will take effect from 18th of July, following Monday. From 18th of July, the rates will undergo change. There are some notifications which we will discuss after the break. We look at some of the issues to understand what needs to be considered. Can the jurisdictional officer who has given you GST registration issue a show cause notice? Can the jurisdictional officer issue a show cause notice? In a state, in Karnataka state, the way administration works is, commissioner will issue it's called a JDN or jurisdiction. Basically, who can do what work. It will say, Deputy Commissioner can issue notice under 61, 65, 67, 76, 74, all those provisions are listed. But within the state GST department, there are three wings. There is one called the DGSTO, which is responsible for registration and scrutiny of returns. Then there is audit, and then there is enforcement. Enforcement officer cannot do audit. Audit officer cannot do inspection, search and seizure. Registration granting officer cannot do audit and enforcement. But audit officer will come and do the audit, come up with some findings, issue the show cause notice. After he issues the show cause notice, he will say, come and give the reply. I will only pass the order. In central administration, there is a circular 31/5/2018. 31/5/2018. This circular very clearly says audit officers and intelligence officers can conduct audit and investigation. They can issue the show cause notice, but they cannot adjudicate. Why they cannot adjudicate? I cannot decide on my own findings. I have done the audit. How I can decide on my own findings? So therefore, there is a very strong reason to object to the validity of any audit officer's adjudication or enforcement officer's adjudication powers. But we have to understand who has what power under which section, because each section specifies what can be done and what should not be done. So please keep this aspect in mind. This is called jurisdiction. If you are interested in understanding a little bit about this, I will suggest if you can read any book on a topic called administrative law. That there is no act. If you search for any book online, you will find books, you will find small articles. Basically, it talks about how government should function, how government should not try to do the work of parliament. Parliament will make the law, government will implement the law, judiciary will interpret the law. There should be no crossing into each other's areas. That is a very important aspect. So if you are interested, you should please read that provision. Is a advance ruling binding? How relevant is a advance ruling? How relevant is a advance ruling? Advance rulings are not accurate, are not required to be accurate. Advance rulings are binding for that person. Advance rulings are binding for that person who has filed that application and received that order. So please keep in mind, other assessees can do something different from what the advance ruling says. Please keep in mind, whenever you receive any letter, notice, communication, if they are referring to advance rulings, you don't have to be worried about it, because advance rulings are not even a court decision. Binding precedent is only when a judicial decision is passed, not a executive order is passed under section 97. So look at it from that point of view. All right. Is it possible for any notification to be issued retrospectively? Rate notification cannot be given retrospective effect. Rate and exemption cannot be given retrospectively. Rules can be changed retrospectively. Act cannot be changed. Act can be changed if Parliament approves that retrospective amendment. So look at it from that point of view. You should not be concerned. Suddenly they will make changes. What shall we do? How will we go about it? All changes will have a specific date that it will apply. Okay. E-way bill errors. We will take one example of e-way bill errors. If you look at section 129, the penalty prescribed is 200%. 200% of the tax payable will be payable as the penalty. Is there any, suppose there are two assessees, one person no e-way bill, another person e-way bill, vehicle number is wrong. Same penalty for both of them? Can the same amount of penalty be charged for both of them? If you see, normally in section 129, the power is very limited. Verification of documents relates to only rule 138A. What should be there when a vehicle is transported, when a consignment is being transported? Everybody is interested in you, sir. Everybody is interested in what you are doing. All right. ಸರ್ ಮೊದಲೇ ನಿದ್ದೆ ತಡೆಯೋಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. 138A specifies there has to be a DC or invoice plus e-way bill. DC or invoice plus e-way bill. If you don't have any of these documents, automatically 200% penalty has to be charged. But government issued one circular number 64, stating that in case of minor discrepancies, nominal amount of penalty can be charged. So according to me, all violations of e-way bill are minor violation. Anybody has any instance where 200% penalty was demanded for missing e-way bill? You should file an appeal, because missing e-way bill also is a minor offense. All right. When is it a major offense? When the transaction is completely not accounted in the accounts also. Nobody does those transactions. Those people who are completely doing bogus transactions, they will never get caught. You see, I'll give you this example in the context of registration. These officers were saying, sir, ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೇಕ್ ಬಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋರೇ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸರಿ, ಅವರು ಫೇಕ್ ಬಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು? At the time of registration, how do you know that they will do fake billing? Sir, ಸಣ್ಣ ಆಫೀಸರ್ ಸರ್, they are saying they are doing business. How it is possible? So therefore, he is telling what will happen in the future. So I was telling this officer, sir, you cannot suspect somebody like this, because when somebody wants to do fake billing, his documents will be perfect, because he is doing nothing but documentation only, no real business. When somebody is doing real business, there will be some normal problems in the documents. Lease agreement is there, not registered. Full name is there in one document, with initial is there in some other document. So please don't prejudge that somebody is doing fake billing, and you will stop fake billing by denying them registration. So I would believe that all cases, I'll give you another example, all e-way bill instances will fall within a minor offense, and you can get waiver, reduction of penalty. Next, there is an officer who stopped the vehicle, charged 200% penalty under 129. You gave a reply, and the officer decided to drop the penalty and charged 10,000 rupees each under 125. 125 is general penalty. He charged 10,000 rupees under 125. Is this legally correct or not? Is this legally correct or not? Please keep in mind, an officer who can intercept under 129 does not have power under 125. Every section there is an officer. Officer named for 129 is not the officer named for 125. So therefore, officer also does not know. Officer thinks he is doing a favor, he is doing justice, but he does not know that he doesn't have power under section 125. Extremely important, because many times we accept departmental action when they don't have power to take that action. How many have experience filing appeals? If you don't have any experience filing appeals, don't worry. But if you are interested in filing appeals, I have two suggestions. First, you see if it is possible for you to sit and hear when a case is going on, before adjudicating authority, before first appellate authority, or before the tribunal. If you get an opportunity, definitely you should sit and hear what is going on. Such stupid things are said. For saying stupid things, the judge is able to find out the real issue and give a favorable order. When you hear such things going on, you will feel confidence. ಇಂಥವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನನ್ನ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ you will get confidence. I'm telling you, I've done this the hard way and I know this. I'm telling you, you should not give up this opportunity to get into litigation. Boys, girls makes no difference. I think girls have a big advantage in tribunal compared to boys, because boys will get shouted at very easily. When a lady consultant is arguing before the tribunal, they will be very, very careful not to say something improper and be disrespectful. They will say, boys generally. There was one person who told the judge, I was sitting in the tribunal, he told the judge, my lord, I have 23 years experience. Don't tell me that I have not filed the appeal properly. There's no need for him to say that, but he said it. The judge said, I have 27 years experience listening to people like you. Case dismissed. So please don't think that litigation is not for you. Second aspect about litigation, whatever order you get, you want to file an appeal, 3 months time to file appeal. In 3 months, don't try to search for a consultant. You only file the appeal. I will tell you 3 secret grounds of appeal. 3 secret grounds of appeal. This will work for any case. All right? The order is contrary to facts. My facts are different, your order has not considered my facts. The order is contrary to facts. Ground number 2, the order is contrary to law. Legally you are not interpreting it correctly. Third, the order is contrary to judicial authorities. That means all the case laws that are there, your order is not following it. Once you file an appeal like this, officer may not understand, but your appeal is valid. All right? Your appeal is valid. Afterwards, you can go and explain in Kannada, in Tamil, in Telugu, in Hindi, in Tulu, in Konkani, in any language, because the person sitting there, he is not come from London. Because sir told me to present in English, I am forced to speak in English. I have also not come from London. So therefore, don't worry. Be confident. If you see what sort of appeals are being filed, you will know that you can write a much better appeal document. Don't think that you have no chance. I think everybody has a chance to do extremely well in appellate work. Everybody has a chance of doing extremely well in appellate work. But the question is, are you interested? If you are interested, you will start practicing. You will take interest in reading many notices. You should contact senior members and say, sir, please give me any show cause notice that you have in your office. I want to read how a show cause notice looks. Anybody has never read a show cause notice? Youngsters, if you want, you can please raise your hand. Anybody has never seen a summons? If you haven't, please collect it from somebody. If you can't find somebody, find out from me. I will share with you summons. You want to see arrest memo? I will send you a copy of arrest. Nothing will happen. Arrest. Nidde lavadaitu. It's all right. I'll tell you an example. It is very difficult for department to arrest anybody in GST. When officer says, arrest madbudtini, if he threatens that he is going to arrest, you can be very confident that this is not an arrest case at all. See, how to arrest? Very briefly I will tell you. Section 69(1), an officer should do an investigation, find out that an offense has been committed. He has to go to the commissioner and ask for permission, saying that please give me a written order that so and so has to be arrested. So and so has to be arrested, please give me an order. Commissioner will say, okay, you please go and arrest this person for so and so offense. Now this officer will go to meet that person to be arrested, all right, to execute the warrant. That person will run away. There is a risk he will run away. Now he will come back in the evening to the office. Commissioner will ask, okay, mister, what happened? Have you arrested? Illa sir, avanu ello odi hoda. Okay, you are now transferred to Belgaum. You are useless in enforcement. You can't even execute an arrest warrant. What a useless officer you are. So somebody who has an arrest warrant will never tell that he has to arrest. He will say, sir, your case is completed. Please come to the department. We need your signatures, or I will come to your premises. I need some signatures. Immediately when he meets that person, he will be placed under arrest. To arrest a person, it is not a joke. A person who has to be arrested has to be willing to come into the building. So he should not even get a small clue that he may be arrested. The most shameful thing for an officer is to come back with an arrest warrant without executing it. So when an officer says, I'll give you an example. It's a service tax case. This officer came and said, I'm conducting an inspection. So he inspected whatever he wanted to see. He said, you have to pay service tax. He said, why we have to pay service tax? He gave some explanation. The company did not agree. The finance manager did not agree. He said, no, it doesn't matter whether you agree or not. We have to collect this tax. Today itself we have to collect the tax. So he said, It doesn't work like that. You give me a notice, I will talk to my higher ups and take an approval, then we will decide. If you don't pay immediately, I will arrest your director. I will arrest your director. So that finance manager told the officer, sir, do it, sir. 3 years that director has not even given increment, sir. You do it, sir. 2 days you take him and go, sir. For my sake, you take him and go, sir. Now the officer is wondering, what is this you are saying like this? I cannot do such things because you are telling me to arrest. Okay, tomorrow I will come back, you make arrangements for payment. It has now been 11 years, 1 rupee department has not got. When they say they are going to arrest, you can be sure they are not going to be arrested. When someone has to be arrested, they will not even use that word. How do you understand these things? As tax practitioners, we have never seen all these provisions in VAT. When you arrest is only cinema. Newspaper, Uttar Pradesh somebody got arrested, Gujarat, we read about it in newspaper. Bangalore somebody got, Udupi nobody gets arrested. But please, if nobody gets arrested in Udupi, then you must practice successfully in Udupi. Anyway, nobody gets arrested in Udupi, isn't it? So don't be worried about it. You need to only educate yourself about 2-3 different sections of CRPC to understand about arrests. If you are interested, you will get into those. Reason why you should read up some of these provisions is because with that knowledge, when you come and look at show cause notice, then you will tell the officer, sir, I have seminar to go, I cannot reply to your notice, we will try to reply next month. You will get confidence. But today what happens is we think that this is what is our main role, so we end up spending day and night attending to unnecessary queries that department is sending. So please look at it from that point of view. E-way bill issues we have seen. If you have any questions, I'll allow you to please bring up some questions, something that you have faced. I'll try and answer them. Otherwise, I have a list. I have to also cover them as we go along. Any questions anybody has? I'll keep going. You please raise your hand. I will stop and allow you to ask me that question. I'll try and see if I can answer. But please don't hesitate to ask question. You can ask a question in Hindi if you are more comfortable. Malayalam, if you don't want to use all these other languages, Kannada also you can try. It's all right. But please do ask your questions. Yes, madam. You have a question? Yes. You can sit and ask, no problem. ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. Not required. For each GST IN, each GST number, ಪ್ರತಿ GST ನಂಬರ್ಗೂ E-way bill separate ಆಗಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Sister concern ಅಂದರೆ they will have 2 different GST numbers. So there is no need for the second concern to issue E-way bill. Not required, not required. ಒಬ್ಬ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟರ್ ಬಿಲೋ 50,000 100 crores ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಸಹ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಅಡ್ಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಪ್ಲೈಯರ್, ನಾಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟರ್. 50,000 rupees. ಇದೆ I have this. There's some list that I already have. I'll try and answer them. How to find out rate of tax? Suppose you have to find out rate of tax. How should you find out the rate of tax? You have to read 3 notifications for this. For goods, you have to read notification 1, 2 and 4. 1 gives the rate of tax. 2 specifies which is exempt completely from tax, and 4 specifies in which commodity the tax is payable by the buyer. Exemption. 13 specifies in which cases tax has to be paid by the buyer. What I follow is, I will take a printout of 1, 2 and 4 spiral bind it, keep it in one book. 11, 12, 13, I will take a printout, spiral bind it and keep it in a book. Every time I have to answer a question, I will first decide, is it goods or service? If it is goods, all the 3 notifications I must check before coming to the answer. If it is services, all the 3 notifications in the second book I have to check to come to the answer. Generally, I have heard people say, GST is very complicated. GST is very complicated. Hundreds of notifications, circulars, clarifications. I don't agree with that, because every taxpayer belongs to one industry. If you say one client, that client has one business he is doing. Maybe 2-3 HSN code is applicable for him. So every taxpayer has to study whatever there is about that HSN code. Suppose somebody is in the business of renting commercial property. 9972 is the HSN code, nothing else. About 9972, he has to study 11, 12 and 13. Those 3 notifications if he studies, nothing further to worry about. GST, hundreds of clarification is there for somebody else. For you, there is no clarification. 9972. If you are a works contractor, 9954. That's all. 11, 12, 13 on 9954. There are some circulars also, you can study it. Every day you don't have to update, because 9954 does not change every day. Every day there are many changes. That is regarding taxpayer. Regarding tax practitioner, if you make a list of all your clients and all the industry they are in, maybe they will be in 5 industries, 5 different. All clients are in renting, all clients are works contractors, all clients are taxi operators. If you look at 5-6 industries, if you take 3 tariff entries per client, you have to understand only 15 issues. You don't have to understand too many issues. The hundreds of notification and circular is for officer, not for the assessee. But somehow we have created this in mind. GST is very complicated, and we have made a decision. Once we decide that GST is complicated, no amount of clarification will come to your rescue, because you have decided it is complicated. I want you to all, before we go in the evening, say this, that GST is not complicated. You should openly say, GST is not complicated for my area of responsibility. For my area of responsibility, GST is not complicated. Now I will ask one question. How many industry segment you have deep understanding and knowledge? How many industry segment you have deep knowledge? I'll give one example. If 2A is not matching with 3B, you will get ASMT 10. If 3B and 9 are not matching, you will get notice. There is a works contractor. Please listen to this example, very important. There is a works contractor, for him all the returns are filed correctly. No mistakes. 1 is matching with 3B. 2B is matching with 3B. Everything is matching with 9, balance sheet also matching. Will this works contractor get any show cause notice? Everything is matching, then why show cause notice? He is perfect. He will make purchases every month. He will take ITC. Since he is a works contractor, he does not raise invoices every day. He will raise invoice once in 2-3 months. Whenever he is raising an invoice, he is filing R1, 3B and paying the tax. So therefore, everything is matching. Is there any problem in this assessee's case? You leave the books, you leave the returns. Client will send the data, you will file the returns. But you leave the books, leave the returns. You imagine, will a works contractor purchase cement and steel for 3 months, keep them in stock, and then do the construction work? He will never do that. Tomorrow morning, if he needs 25 bags of cement, previous night he will tell the cement supplier to deliver the cement to the site. As soon as the cement is delivered to the site, he will use it in the construction and not keep any stock. So how come his 1 and 3B are always matching? Every month he purchases. Once in 2-3 months he will raise sales invoice and file the returns. What is going on? If he raises bill every month, GST he has to pay from his pocket. 1 and 3B will not match. 1 and 3B will not match. So what he must be doing? He is raising the invoice when he is receiving payment. That is why 1 and 3B are always matching. Purchases he is making as and when he is doing the work. How will you find out this problem? If you have deep understanding about works contractor business, when you look at something, you will be able to find something is wrong. There is a patient who took an X-ray of his hand and went to the doctor. He had swelling in his hand. He has taken X-ray, given to the doctor. Doctor saw that X-ray and he is making some notes. Patient also saw that X-ray. Sir, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಗಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಪ್ಪಗೆ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಏನದು? There is one line. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಫ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಚರ್ ಇರೋದು ಅಂತ. The taxpayer does not know what a notice should look like, what a return should look like. So whenever he looks at the X-ray, he thinks everything is black and white, everything is fine. But the officer knows, for a works contractor, how it should be. So my question is, do you have deep understanding about your client's business? How his business should. Youngsters, I am addressing this to you. Please don't think that you finished your graduation, you are working in an office as a tax practitioner, so therefore you have nothing further to learn. You are more capable than me to understand today's business, Ola, Uber business, how it works, these startups, how it works, travel business, transport, how do these things work? You are in a better position to understand whether this is workable or not. I'll give one small example. He can show WAP. Sir? But what does the contract see? Normally in works contractor, he will give a bill. It will take 3 months for the engineer to approve the bill. It will go to the payment desk. They have to approve. One by one, after everyone is duly satisfied, only the payment will come. Which means he is preparing the bill and filing false R1. Correct, no? So that is why patient should not give suggestions to doctor. But today what is happening, client is telling us which is the correct invoice. But we understand works contract business better to say that your payment date and billing date can never be the same month.
That is wrong, you are saying. You first is telling earlier to the department. Billing or coming after 3 months.
Correct.
He is rising here after 3 months. That is wrong.
What he is doing is wrong. Our responsibility is to inform him that what he is doing is wrong. It is a matter of time, today or tomorrow, this will come up for investigation. I'll give an example. There is a rice mill. Rice mill will sell bran and husk. After deshelling, what is left over, bran and husk, the rice mill will sell. Bran has no tax, it is exempt. Husk has 5% tax. No, husk has no tax, bran has 5% tax. He will pay 5% on bran, 0% on husk. Everything is fine, tax is paid, returns filed, no problem. If you understand that business carefully, you will ask this question: if I am selling bran, where is the purchase? You cannot sell without a purchase. How did you get the bran? You received paddy. Somebody's paddy you received, you did milling, gave back the rice, you are left with the bran. You are supposed to sell this bran and keep that money as additional job charges. What is the rate of tax on rice mill? 18%. Because the farmer is unregistered. If the farmer is registered, it is 5. If the farmer is unregistered, if the paddy is coming from a dealer who is registered, then it will be 5. If it is coming from an unregistered person, it is 18. So 18% on job charges, 18% on bran, 18% on husk. This is not something that your officer in Udupi needs to understand. An officer in Bangalore can issue a show cause notice to a car service center who sells scrap. He cannot pay tax as a sale of goods because there is no purchase of goods to make sale of goods. It is nothing but the scrap belonging to the customer. He is collecting that as additional repair charges. He should pay 18% tax on scrap sales. That show cause notice, one copy will come to Udupi also. So look at it from this point of view. Do you have deep understanding of any business sector? I would encourage you, every year you identify 3 business sectors. Function hall. All right? In this function hall business, do you understand how it works? Where do they make money? Where do they lose money? Which is taxable? Which is not taxable? You will need to recognize. For a doctor, can you think of 3 income sources that is not exempt from GST? For a doctor, sir, why don't you answer? For a doctor, 3 sources of income. Normally, someone who is well established, 50-year-old person, practicing well as a doctor, 3 sources of income that is not from providing healthcare service. Sale of medicines. He will get medicine free from pharmacy, from pharma company, but he will sell. Sale of medicine. Second, commission. Referral fee anta gaurava karitare. Basically, it is commission. If you go anywhere and take X-ray, fracture. If you go to this place, excellent photo will come. You can smile also. You will get a good X-ray. Referral fee. Third, biggest area. Third, coaching center. Correct. They will come like this and give talk also. As a visiting faculty. The third biggest area is you need to see his passport. 4 times he has traveled abroad, never reported any income. From July 1st with 194R, all that will come in for TDS. 4 times he has traveled abroad. Minimum one trip is 2.5 lakhs. 10 lakhs of expenditure he is incurred, no income. He is not claimed it in his income tax also. How? Pharma company bought the ticket and sent it to him. Is it income or not? If it is income, is it liable to GST or not? Of course it is liable to GST. So therefore, every business sector you need to identify. Education institution exempt from GST. Education institution exempt from GST. 3 sources of income which is not exempt from GST for an education institution. Can you tell me? Sir, you have been nominated as the person to answer. Sir? Sale of notebooks. Textbook exempt, sale of notebook. What else? Sale of uniforms. Okay. Books and uniform. Anything else? Canteen. For students. For visitors, when they sell food, it will be taxable. All right. Schools also provide non-mandatory value addition courses. CET coaching, JEE coaching, NEET coaching. They don't start these classes from PUC. They will start from high school itself. So when you look at it from this point of view, then school will rent the auditorium to Udupi District Tax Bar Association to conduct GST program. Rental of auditorium, rental of swimming pool during summer holidays. there will always be something or the other which is taxable. If you find a hospital which is unregistered in GST, straight away they are liable for investigation. If you find a school or a college which is unregistered, straight away they have to be investigated. So look at it from this point of view. Deep understanding in each business should be your goal. Every year, 3 sectors you identify, see if you can develop understanding in those sectors to get to a place where if I ask you a question about education institution, you should know everything about it. Everything about it. You cannot start studying about that business after you get a client. If you study enough about that sector, you will get a client. You will get a client. So look at it from this point of view, how to identify. Yes, yes. Taxable. So taxable with penalty. School below 20 lakhs. How it is possible? No. 20 lakhs is aggregate turnover. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. Including exempt and taxable turnover, it should be below 20 lakhs. In crores. So, they may have 1 crore turnover, 2 lakhs taxable income will be liable to GST. Remaining 98 lakhs is exempt from GST. If they give compulsory NEET coaching, then entire fees is taxable because it will become mixed supply. Namaskar. So the reason why we have to understand this is because, see what happens is, if you say something is taxable, you are not a good consultant anno abhipraya. If a consultant says it is, please sit down sir. If a consultant says something is taxable, then he is not a good consultant. Taxable anta ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. So therefore, first is, you want to know whether it is taxable, answer is yes. You decide you don't want to pay tax, that is a different aspect. You don't want to pay tax, that is a completely different question compared to, is it taxable? Of course it is taxable. There is no provision in GST law that exempts. Do you know any temple trust that does not have GST number? Impossible for a temple trust not to have a GST number. Any church which does not have GST number, impossible. Every institution has to have a GST number because it is impossible that they will have absolutely zero taxable income in their entire operations. The bigger an organization, till now, not a single temple trust, church, Gurudwara, I have been able to keep out of registration. Education institutions, colleges, schools, not a single, lot of effort has gone into it, but not a single. I'll give you an example why this is important. There is a trust which owns the land. There is a society which runs the school. This is how it is done. There is a trust which owns the land. There is a society which runs the school. School is profitable. Trust has no income, no expenditure. Trust has no income, no expenditure. What trust does is not charity. What trust, because a trust cannot donate to a society, you know that. So therefore, department can tomorrow come back and say the land used by the school belongs to a related party and rent is liable to tax at open market value. So they are finished. So please be very careful. If you are surprised that something is taxable, it only means you are assuming it is exempt. Whenever something is exempt, you should know exactly how it is exempt. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಜಿ ಎಸ್ ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥದ್ದು. ದೆರ್ ಆರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ 7 things. Alcoholic liquor, 5 petroleum products, shares and securities. Other than this, everything comes within GST. All right. So, sorry. Sir. Yes, yes. All this is business. 217 has clause A to H. Clause H says government is also doing business is what the definition says. ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಕೆಲಸನೇ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ ಮಾಡೋದಂತೂ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ವೆಲ್ ವಿದಿನ್ ದ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. IGST on imported goods, is it payable or not payable? ಸಾಧಾರಣವಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ ಅಂತಲೇ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಬಟ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ದ ಲಾ, imported goods is liable only to customs duty. The rate of customs duty is equal to the IGST rate. So when somebody imports any goods, he does not pay IGST, he will get a show cause notice under section 28 of Customs Act 1962 and not section 73 of CGST Act 2017. So please understand, although the rate of tax is the same, what is the kind of tax we are paying becomes important to identify. When you look at GST notification 1/17, it says, ಸಾಧಾರಣವಾಗಿ ನಾವೇನು ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, I am very good at English. I am very good at English, so I will see the tariff and I understand how to do the classification. Please keep in mind, there are many words that everybody understands easily, but legally the meaning is very complicated. Vegetable, what is the definition of vegetable? Sir, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳಿ. ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ವರ್ಡ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್? ವೆಜಿಟೇರಿಯನ್ ನೀವು? ದೆನ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ನೋಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಗ್ರೋನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್, ಅದಾ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್. ಆರ್ ಯು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್? ಆರ್ ಯು ಸ್ಯಾಟಿಸ್ಫೈಡ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್? ಗ್ರೋನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್. ಪನ್ನೀರ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಇಲ್ವಾ? Vegetable is a word that does not have a legally acceptable definition. Sir? ನೋಡಿ, ಹೆಂಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಆಲ್ ರೈಟ್. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ we think we understand. So I would suggest mobile phone. What is the okay, I'll give another example. Tomato, is it a vegetable or a fruit? Answer, if the answer is long, it is most likely wrong. If the answer comes fast, it is definitely wrong. Slow agi barbeku. Tomato is a vegetable or a fruit? Question the question before you answer the question. So first, what is a fruit ಅನ್ನೋದು ಹೇಳಿ. ಯಾರು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಯಾರೋ ಫಾಸ್ಟಾಗಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಲ್ಲ ಯಾರು? ಸರ್, ಫ್ರೂಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್? Fruit is that which bears the seeds which can germinate. Fruit, sweet is not fruit. Sweet ಆಗಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಅದು ಫ್ರೂಟ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಪ್ಪು. It should carry the seeds which will germinate. ಟೊಮ್ಯಾಟೋನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಾರ್ಡನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಗಿಡ ಬರುತ್ತಾ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಸೊ ಬೈ ದ ಡೆಫಿನಿಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಫ್ರೂಟ್, ಟೊಮ್ಯಾಟೊ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಫ್ರೂಟ್. Sir, now you are asking out of syllabus questions. Huh? You are right. It bears the seeds which can germinate. Alva? So, look at it from this point of view. We know, we have lot of knowledge, but this knowledge is not from a reliable source. The knowledge comes from a reliable source, then we can say with authority what is the classification. GST tariff ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, entry 2.2 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, to read GST tariff book, you must go to Customs Tariff Act 1975, understand what this word means in customs and copy that meaning for GST purpose. GST ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಆಫೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾರಿಫ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಬುಕ್ ಒಂದು ಕಾಪಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ? ಸಾಧಾರಣ ಈ ಸೆಮಿನಾರಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್, ಸೊ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೀಡ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬುಕ್. ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇನ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಡುಪಿಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಪೋರ್ಟ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? ವೈ ವಿ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ to practice in GST? You must read customs tariff book, because GST notification says instead of giving a 3000 page notification, we have copied everything from customs tariff, so please read customs tariff and that will be the answer for GST classification. GST service classification annexure ಮತ್ತು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಟ್ರಿ ನೋಟ್ಸ್, ಡು ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಕಾಪಿ? ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ನ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲನೇಟ್ರಿ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೆಫರ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್. ಸೊ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಇನ್ GST ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಡನ್ ಇನ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಷನ್. ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ವಿಲ್ ನೌ ಟೇಕ್ ಅ ಬ್ರೇಕ್. We'll come back and we will read the amendments that is going to take effect from next Monday. GSTಯಲ್ಲಿ 47th GST Council meeting ನಂತರ 7 ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿವೆ, ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಸಮ್ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ಸ್. ಸರ್ಟನ್ issues we will discuss. ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದರೆ, almost all the circulars are wrong. Almost all the 170 to 176, almost all circulars are wrong. ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಓದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು GST ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಭಾವಿಸಬಾರ್ದು. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ GST ಹೇಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಓದ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರೋ, ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ದಟ್ ವೇ. All these circulars are contrary to law. I'll give 2 examples. A has given an invoice to B without making any supply. ಅದನ್ನು ಈ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ. ಬೋಗಸ್ ಫೇಕ್ ಬಿಲ್ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ A has given a bill to B without supplying any goods or service. It is stated that this is not at all a supply. So there is no demand for output tax, only denial of ITC is attracted for B. Section 76 ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ, when you collect tax, when you collect any amount as tax and you fail to remit it, then you are liable to pay the tax. ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾನೆ? ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ GST ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಪೇ ಆಗಿ ಹೋಗಿದೆ. ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ GST ಕಟ್ಟೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆಯೇ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಸಪ್ಲೈ. ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಡಿಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 76. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಒನ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ವೇರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ರಾಂಗ್. ಎನದರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಮೊಬಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಆನ್ ದಿ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ he has to pay tax. 98% ITC is available. Normally he is eligible for a lot of ITC. Net tax is always 2%. If the contractor pays the GST on mobilization advance, he will never utilize fully all the ITC. So what the contractor decides to do, he does not issue the invoice receipt voucher for mobilization advance. Later when he receives the ITC, at that time he will report the advance. Is it okay? Nodi, in GST, assessment is for every tax period, 206 tax period, not every financial year. July 17 liability I can pay in December 17, but I have to pay in December 17 in cash. I cannot pay July 17 liability with December 17 ITC. It amounts to utilizing future ITC for past liability. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇದೆ, ಇದು ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯೂಸ್ ITC for payment of output tax on self-assessment basis under section 39, that is through 3B or through DRC. Whenever you pay the tax, you can utilize. Jyoti Constructions, there is a judgment from Odisha High Court. When you are making deposit for filing appeal, you have to pay that deposit only by cash. You cannot pay by credit. If the High Court decision is wrong, then government should file appeal in tribunal, in Supreme Court to reverse that judgment. Government cannot give circular to reverse a judgment. So this is another example. This is another example where the circular is reversing a High Court judgment. So for these reasons, all the circulars are wrong, but all the circulars are beneficial. So take advantage of this circular even if it is illegal. Circular has been given by the government, even if it is contrary to the law, please take advantage of it. Don't ignore this circular. But when this circular will get reversed, nobody knows. Alright? Now we'll take some examples of the tariff changes. First, all the tariff changes comes into effect from 18th July. 18th July morning, afternoon or night, midnight of 17th, 18th, section 5.5 of General Clauses Act, midnight of 17th and 18th, this notification will come into effect. Some of the changes, works contracts, all works contracts now have gone into 18%. January 2022, some categories were made into 18. Now roads, dams, canals, everything has come into 18%. Up to 1,000 rupees exempt hotel accommodation, 1,000 to 7,500, 12%, above 7,500, 18%, now up to 7,500, 12%. So all accommodation is liable to tax at 12%, above that anyway it is taxable at 18%. Renting a residential property for use as a residence was exempt from tax. What is residential property? What is the definition? Auditors so many times sleep in the office because they are working hard. They work till 2 o'clock in the morning, then they will take rest for 2 hours before they go home. They are not sleeping entire day. When you sleep in the office, does it become residence? What is the definition of fruit and vegetable we have discussed? What is the definition of residence? Where you reside, that is not residence. You are always in office, you never come home, you are a visitor to my home. All this you have heard. What is the definition of residence? Residence, the test of residence is full and functional kitchen. Full and functional kitchen is in a PG accommodation, you can make Maggi, bread, jam. That is not kitchen. Full and functional kitchen. Source of power, wastewater disposal, both should be there. Source of power, gas, 16 amps power socket, one of these two, and wastewater disposal has to be there. You cannot throw the wastewater outside the window and say I am disposing. It has to be a full and functional kitchen. So, PG accommodation, is it residential dwelling? In a PG, See, there are two types of PG. 4 students take a house and share the rent. That is not called PG. PG is one person has to come to this house, one bed and access to common facilities. Nobody has access to kitchen. There can be shared access to kitchen, or the operator can provide cook to provide food. PG is not residential dwelling. There is a decision of Karnataka High Court saying it is residential dwelling, but that is a wrong decision. In Tagar Vasudev Ambarish judgment, Karnataka High Court has said that it is exempt, but it is not exempt. Now what amendment has been brought about? Residential dwelling for use as a residence is now under reverse charge notification. Reverse charge is if the person taking the residence is a registered person, then exemption is not applicable. So if you give your house to a company to use as a company guest house or director's residence with his family, that is not exempt from 18th July. Till now it was exempt because your house has a full kitchen, the director and his family are using it, or the company and the housekeeper are using it for all the corporate guests who are coming. That was exempt till now. Hereafter it will not be exempt from tax. Goods Transport Agency, this entry has been confused so much by the government. Now they are creating one more confusion. We will see what is that confusion. Who is a goods transport agency? Goods transport agency is somebody who will issue a consignment note. Please make note of Carriage by Road Act 2011. Carriage by Road Act 2011 very clearly says under section 8, even if you don't give a lorry receipt, there is a deemed forwarding note created by the statute itself. So anybody who provides goods transport service will become a goods transport agency. Anybody who gives his vehicle to another goods transport agency, this person cannot be a goods transport agency but only a hirer of the truck. In goods transport agency, now there is two options. Before 15th of March every year, you have to file an application, an intimation to your jurisdictional officer that you want to pay tax on forward charge basis. I want to pay on forward charge. The default mechanism is RCM. All GTA from now onwards, 18 July onwards will be RCM. RCM 5% for everybody. If the GTA files an application, intimation and says that I want to pay tax on forward charge basis, only in those cases RCM will not apply. So if I receive invoice from GTA, that invoice must contain one wording. I have taken option to pay tax on forward charge basis. So if the GTA will take the option, no RCM for the customer. If the GTA does not take the option, by default it is RCM for the customer. If the GTA takes the option, further two option is there, 5% without ITC or 12% with ITC. So there can be one GTA who goes for this option, I want to pay on forward charge, one customer 5% forward charge, another customer 12% forward charge. He can take pro rata ITC under rule 43 for the vehicle. So please keep in mind, GTA's business has been made very complicated. Now when do you take this option? From April onwards, if you want forward charge, before 15th March itself you have to file this paper with the jurisdictional office. Now for this year, before 16th August 2022, you have to file this declaration with your jurisdictional officer for the remaining part of this year, to go for this option. So therefore, this is becoming complex in terms of how GTAs will operate. In a hospital, entry number 74 very clearly provides healthcare service is exempt, in that an exception has been created other than ICU. Other than ICU, if the hospital room tariff is more than 5,000 rupees, on the room tariff portion, there will be GST at 5%. 5% is a GST on room tariff. Now, composite supply means HSN code is the same for everybody, but they have created, see, room tariff normally is under 9963. 9963 is hotel accommodation, but they have created within 9993 healthcare service two categories: below 5,000 room, above 5,000 room. If it is below 5,000, everything is healthcare and exempt. Above 5,000, room tariff alone is taxable, everything else will continue to be exempt. Please be very careful. Hospitals may try to keep the room tariff 4999 and charge everything on the others. Department will investigate. Please encourage hospitals, if they have higher room tariff, to discharge tax at 5% and not try to avoid this tax on room tariff. All right. Next. Pre-packaged, labeled products. There are a number of products which have been pre-packaged and labeled. There is a lot of confusion. Now today also there is a strike going on that agricultural products are being taxed. Now I will go back and give you some background. We will take example of rice and wheat. Chapter 7, Chapter 9, Chapter 10. In these categories, branded rice 5% GST, unbranded rice exemption. This is how the original law was. Branded rice 5%, unbranded rice no GST. There are many unregistered but famous brand names. There are many unregistered but famous brand names. Suppose there is a rice brand, let us say it is called A1. A1 is a brand name. Everybody knows in the market, everyone accepts this. A1 is the brand of rice. It is not registered. So they created one category, registered or unregistered. Registered or unregistered. If you file a declaration that you don't want any brand rights, then you are exempt. But if you want any brand rights, you have to pay 5% tax. Even after this amendment, what happened? There are many people, they have a brand name. India Gate Basmati rice is a very famous brand name. They have filed the declaration saying, I don't want any brand rights. And they are claiming exemption. So today an amendment has come saying, from 18th July it will be effective. If you package the rice and sell it, 5%. Brand name, no brand name, registered, not registered, it does not matter. If you package it and sell it, 5%. If you don't package it and sell it, exemption. But the way this has been communicated is so complicated that people have started raising questions about it. What are the areas where exemption will apply? Agriculturist exempt from tax. Agriculturist exempt from tax. Manufacturer of bulk package exempt from tax. Bulk package can be to resellers who will sell unpacked, It can be for industrial consumer like bakeries, star hotels, biscuit factories. See, bulk pack, exempt from tax. Manufacturing retail packs. What is retail pack? Below 25 kg, 1 kg, 2 kg, 5 kg, 10 kg, 25 kg. Below 25 kg, you must package it as per packaged commodity rules 2011. You are taxable. So where is the government trying to generate revenue? Big bazaar. If you go to big bazaar, you will find 1 kg rice, 1 kg sugar, 1 kg wheat, 1 kg wheat flour, rice flour. You will find that in 1 kg, 2 kg, 5 kg, 10 kg, 25 kg packets. What is the brand name? Nobody knows what is the brand name. Brand name is not required. If you are selling it in a package, then you are liable to pay GST 5%. Big Bazaar will tell the manufacturer to package it, then manufacturer has to pay 5%, Big Bazaar will claim ITC. Big Bazaar will tell the manufacturer, you send it to me in bulk, I will repack it. That will be taxable for the first time in Big Bazaar, more, all the supermarket. It need not be registered. What if I make it 100 kg bag? Please keep in mind, when it is for retail sale, it will never be in 100 kg bag. It has to be maximum 25 kg. If you pack it in more than 25 kg, it will be considered wholesale. So therefore, it is only when retail sale packing is done, it is liable to tax. 25 kg is the limit for all the commodities except cement and fertilizer, where the limit is 50 kg. Third category, agricultural farm produce. Nobody knows what is the definition of agricultural farm produce. We can understand agricultural farm produce to be the normal condition in which an agriculturist will sell. There are some organic farms, farm to retail shop, directly they are having a supply, and small retail packs of agriculture. Half kg tomato is pre-packed. Alright. So when agricultural farm produce are sold in retail pack, GST will apply. But agricultural farm produce that is not pre-packaged in retail packing, it will be free from tax. The discussion going on in Hubli is because agriculturist is saying that agricultural products now has been brought into GST. Small grocery shops, they are already making packages. See, if the grocery shop, understood the question, small grocery shops are packaging and selling it, then what is the consequence? If the grocery shop pre-packages them as per Legal Metrology Act, if he privately puts it in a convenient size packing, that is not covered by the tariff notification. It has to be packaging as approved by the food inspector. Then only it will be covered by this tax. Otherwise, no tax. No. Now what happens is the 20 kg, 25 is taxable, 26 and more. It is also not covered by the tax because it is a bulk packing. No sir, no tax. 5 kg into 4 also no tax. No, there is no tax on that. You must sell in retail only. It has to be below 5 kg. The definition is very clearly provided, so don't have to have concerns. Now if you take an example, you go to a hotel, there they will pack food items, let us say some rice item they will pack and send it to airlines, railways, no tax on that. Hotels supplying food, no tax on that under this tariff notification. So therefore, this is only to collect tax in these branded stores. Secondly, now Big Bazaar for example, till now when they are selling packaged rice, it is treated as exempt supply, so they were reversing ITC on rent and other expenses. Now they will pay output tax, so they will be eligible for ITC. So Big Bazaar cannot come and say, suddenly we are increasing the selling price by 5%, they have to increase it after reducing ITC. National Anti-Profiteering Authority will continue investigation even in such cases. So therefore, blindly increasing by 5% is not proper. In my estimation, ITC reversed by these branded stores is anyway between 3% to 11%. So in number of cases, selling price should not increase. Selling price, already they are losing ITC. Once output tax has come, they should not be liable for any increase in tax. If at all there is any increase, it has to be only very nominal amount of increase, not such a substantial increase by 5%. So therefore, this should not cause such a big confusion, but somehow it is causing enormous confusion in the trade as far as what needs to be done in these cases. About this, are there any questions?
Only rice and all other food items.
Sorry?
What and all the food items list?
All what I have explained is applicable to all the following 25 commodities. I'll give a few examples. Fish, frozen, fish fillets, curd, lassi, buttermilk, chana, paneer, natural honey, dried leguminous vegetables, arrowroot, Jerusalem,
dried vegetables?
all of those, all of it.
Dried vegetables also.
Will also get covered if it is sold in retail packing. Yes. All goods which are cereals, put up in unit containers, wheat, muslin, rye, barley, oats, maize, rice, buckwheat, wheat, cereal flour, cereal goat, meal, powder, flakes, meal and powder of dried leguminous vegetables, jaggery, puffed rice. All of these, please examine, is it put up in retail packing?
Milk is there? Milk is not there.
Sorry?
Milk is not there. Nandini and all coming.
No, not milk. Curd, lassi, buttermilk, not milk. So I don't expect that everyone will get affected. Only large brands will get affected. The large brands will get affected net of ITC. With 5% rate of tax, I don't think the net impact can be substantial. It has to be very nominal, sir. You are supplying it. Are you affixing a label as per package commodity rules? Correct. So up to 25, you are selling it to whom? Ultimately, it is going for retail consumption. No, reason why I am asking, specially packed for bakery, then it is tax. Up to 25, it will be taxable. It will be taxable. Not taxable. Above 25, government's opinion is, it is not for a normal retail consumer. Everybody buys 30 kg rice. No tax. 25 and below. 25 and below taxable. Above 25 exempt. Taxable. Correct. whatever you do above 25, no tax for you. You affix a label also, affix a brand name also, no tax. No, you cannot decide that because Legal Metrology Act has to allow it. You have to arrange for Legal Metrology Act to change it. Yes. Of course. Correct. All right. When you look at GST, I have paid 50,000 rupees extra GST. Some month I have paid 50,000 rupees extra GST. Next month I realize that I have paid extra in the previous month. This month I will set off and I will pay GST for this month after reducing that excess. Is it correct? Not correct. In the month of July, I have paid 1 lakh GST. I am supposed to pay only 50,000. In the month of August, I am supposed to pay 2 lakhs GST. I will not pay 2 lakhs, I will pay 1.5 lakhs. July and August put together, I have paid correctly. This self-adjustment of excess payment earlier with liability in subsequent month, is it legally correct? Whenever we do annual returns, please be very careful. When you file returns, you cannot self-sanction refunds. If you have paid excess, file refund application. If you have not filed refund application, that money is gone for nation building. The subsequent month where you have to pay that 50,000 rupees tax, there will be a demand with interest. So, two aspects we have to keep in mind. Setting off ITC of future month to pay arrears of earlier month is not legally correct. Suo moto sanctioning of refunds where excess payment is made earlier is also not correct. Tax officers don't understand that every tax period has to be assessed separately. They are still considering it like VAT 240. Entire financial year I will examine what is the liability. Entire financial year if the liability is discharged, then that is satisfactory. Whatever liability you pay, as a general rule, never pay through DRC 3. Whatever liability during filing of returns, if you realize, or subsequently if you realize, try to file all your liability through 3B and not through DRC 3, because once you pay anything through DRC 3, interest on gross will attract, it will not be eligible for credit. Payment made through DRC does not flow into your electronic liability or cash ledger. So visualize this from this point of view. Once you realize a mistake, rectifying the mistake also has to be done carefully. You cannot blindly rectify the mistake and assume nobody should object to it, because the role of the department is not only to ensure correctness of compliance, but also to ensure the compliance is done in the correct manner. Reason is, if you have adjusted excess tax of July with liability in August, department knows that it is fair, it is all right. Previously you paid excess, so you have adjusted. But legally it is wrong, because every tax period has to be assessed independently. July you had an excess tax payment. Section 54 says you have 2 years to file a refund claim. If you don't file a refund claim, then you cannot claim that refund. There are many taxpayers who have missed the 2 years time limit and they have lost the refund claim. Today we cannot come and say, I have to be given this facility but not the others. Second issue is, if ever we discharge any tax through subsequent 3B, always keep in mind, in the GST portal, it is easy to find out which tax period each liability relates to, because GST portal is able to sort month-wise sales data based on the date of invoice. Doesn't matter which month you filed GSTR 3B, which month you reported this tax, based on the date of invoice filed in GSTR 1, it can resort the data. So a lot of analytical calculations are being made. Many tax officers come and say, "Idella namage artha agodilla, we don't know how this system is calculating." I gave this example of this officer in Hyderabad who sent a notice. So we called and asked him, "What is this notice you have sent? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You are saying I am liable for reversal under Rule 42 for proportionate reversal. I have never taken any common credits. How did you come to this conclusion that I have taken, that I am liable for proportionate reversal?" The officer said, "I don't have that notice with me. Can you send a copy by email?" The system has used his digital signature and has sent 13,000 notices that week. And then they had to stop it and change it and correct it, etc. But many taxpayers, as soon as they get a notice, they are rushing to meet the officer, request the officer to help them do some settlement. All the three steps are against the law. Whenever you receive a communication, we received your communication, we dispute the demand made and reject the allegations, and we rely on section 160 to question the validity of this proceeding. Let the officer explain. The reason why I say that we have to follow this law very strictly is because, I'll give an example. There is a school in Bangalore which is run by sisters. They don't have much financial resources. With limited resources, they are running the school. Fees is extremely low because they want to give education to lower middle class and poor children. That is their mission objective. VAT department passed a reassessment order on ex parte basis, arriving at a liability of 10 lakh rupees. Reassessment notice, rejecting books of accounts, ex parte basis, 10 lakhs. The assistant commissioner came to the school to serve the order to the principal. He sent his visiting card to the principal. The principal thought the assistant commissioner is coming for admission to use his influence. She never met him. He went back after about 7-8 months. He sent a recovery notice and took 10 lakhs out of the bank account. Once 10 lakhs left the bank account, the sister there was wondering where that money went. That time we discovered that there was a recovery notice from the VAT department. Went to the department, found out what was that order, came to know that it was an officer's misreading of the balance sheet. Creditors written back was treated as income, which is liable to tax, and he raised this demand because it was by rejecting books, ex parte basis, etc. The demand came to be finalized. Appeal was filed. JC Appeals rejected the appeal and dismissed it. Matter was carried to tribunal. Tribunal said, "I know what you are saying is right. I know this demand should not have been collected from you. I am very sorry. The law does not give me the power to help you. You have to forget this money." Another instance in GST, in service tax, Principal Commissioner of Mysore gave a show cause notice of 3.64 crores to a contractor. He is uneducated. He does not know about how GST operates. A demand was made based on his income tax TDS versus GST returns, service tax returns. A demand was made. We replied on the basis that this demand should not sustain. During hearing, the Principal Commissioner says, "I know what you are saying is legally correct. I should drop the demand. But please understand, my higher-ups will expect me to confirm this demand. What you are saying is correct. I am very sorry. All the best. You will win in tribunal. but I have to confirm this demand. Principal Commissioner is the highest ranking officer in Mysore Commissionerate. 14 districts come under Mysore Commissionerate, and he said he is helpful. He is helpless. He has to confirm the demand. When you go before any GST officer, this one fact you must know: a GST officer is incapable of doing justice. GST officer is authorized only to follow instructions. Somebody who cannot give you justice, somebody who is a person who is to follow instructions coming from higher ups, there is no need for you to be friends with him, no need for you to bow down before him. Here is a law that strengthens your hands if you are willing to stand up and play this game according to the new rules that GST has provided for us. We take this time to thank Udupi District Tax Bar Association, President, Secretary, all the senior members who have given me this opportunity to come and share some of my thoughts, concerns, worries. I see everywhere notices being issued and taxpayers responding with fear. So I consider that maybe some of the mistakes I have committed, you don't need to commit. You should commit new mistakes, but take encouragement that if you stand up and take support of this law, you will get relief. There is no officer who is empowered to look beyond the law and do justice. Every officer is required to follow the law and carry out instructions. If that is how this new game has to be played, then I suppose we should get ready. GST has enormous opportunities. Senior practitioners can continue their expertise as far as addressing officers. Younger members should look at developing skills as far as how the portal works, because very soon Udupi taxpayer, his officer can sit in Gulbarga and still do all the work. There is no need for everyone to have physical proximity. I thank all members especially for spending the entire day, and the quality of attention that I received was unlike no other that I have seen elsewhere. Thank you all very much. If there are any questions, I will try and answer them. Thank you very much. Deposit towards the society from members. See, the money collected by a builder will not go to his P&L. It will sit in his balance sheet as a liability. No tax on this money collected by builder from the buyer of the apartment. When the builder withdraws from this fund towards maintenance until formation of the society, it is taxable. But if he keeps that money as a liability and transfers it to the society when it is formed, builder does not have to pay any tax. Society will have to pay tax. If about, let's say, see, association's gross aggregate turnover must be more than 20 lakhs. If it is more than 20 lakhs, registration requirement can arise. But if after it increases beyond 20 lakhs, all the members are below 7,500 rupees, then also there is no requirement for registration because of 23(1)(a). No need for registration. Yes, please. Mike Vikant.
Providing residential dwelling facility to its employees. Case number 1. It owns its own flat and giving it to its employees for no consideration. Case number 2. It is paying to apartment owners on behalf of employees. In both the cases, a company is not showing it in their employees' salary as perquisites, but showing it as rent expenses in profit and loss accounts.
Is it correct?
Yes.
As per expenditure from 18 July onwards, it is liable for reverse charge.
Okay, sir. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆ. ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ 12/2017 ಸೀರಿಯಲ್ ನಂಬರ್ 8 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೆಡ್ other than by GTA or courier agency, it is exempt. ರಿಟೇಲ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಸ್ಟಮರಿಗೆ ಈಗ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಅವರ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮೇರೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ, ನಾವು ಅವರಿಂದ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಚಾರ್ಜಸ್ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸೆಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟು
You cannot give a separate invoice. You have, it is a composite supply. You have to apply the same rate of tax as applicable to the goods which you are selling and now transporting.
ಓಕೆ, ಅದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಅಂತ
ಇಲ್ಲ
ಆಗೋದು.
ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆ. ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಐಟಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಬೋತ್ ಆರ್ ಅಬೌವ್ 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. ಈಗ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಐಟಮ್ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಕೊಡಿ, 2 ದಿನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಐಟಮ್ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಕೊಡು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಗ ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಬಟ್ 2 ದಿನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸೇಮ್ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಪೋರ್ಟಲ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಂಥ ಕೇಸಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ
ಸೇಮ್ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ರೇಸ್ 2 invoices. ಫಾರ್ 1 purchase order you can raise 2 invoices. So separate invoice, separate e-way bill if applicable.
ಸರ್, ಹೀಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? ಅಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅದೇ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸಿಗೆ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ 24 hours ಒಳಗೆ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 2 ದಿನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು.
ಬಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ,
ಹೌದು,
ಪ್ರಯಾಣ ಮುಗಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ನ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದು,
ನೀವೇನೋ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ,
ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್
ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವೇನೋ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ
ಅದು
ಹೇಗೆ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ನಾನಿಲ್ಲಿ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹಾಂ, ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ರೂಲ್ 55(5)
ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಚಲನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಕ್ಕೆ
ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್.
ಹಿಂದೆ ನೋಡಿ.
So, in my client case, they had approached us for GST registration. It was in the month of December, and the state was state of Haryana. There we wanted to apply for a registration, and they had asked us many documents, and they were not responding on time. And
the most important document also you submitted? You didn't submit. That is the,
no, we couldn't approach the proper officer. Yeah.
Okay.
We were finding for that as well. But the thing is, this client is a subsidiary of wholly owned company that is incorporated outside India. And by the time we got a registration, I think we applied for 6th time, and then we got a registration. It was in the month of April. But from December to March, they wanted a money to run a payroll. So, so they had raised an invoice to the to the company outside India. They are wholly owned subsidiary, and they have received a foreign remittance of around 50 lakh. So, what can we do now? Like, because we got a registration in the month of April, and those are considered as export of service, but LUT is not filed.
Non-filing of LUT is not fatal to benefit of zero rated supply. Para number 8, circular number 125. Nothing will happen. Don't bother about doing anything about LUT. If you wish to, you can issue a revised invoice for that entire period after the registration. But since it goes into the next financial year, don't do anything. Leave it. There is no liability. Zero rated benefit cannot be denied.
Okay. And it is service, so it is based on the advance received, right? The taxability arise. So we cannot raise a revised invoice also.
So, like I said, don't bother about doing anything.
Okay.
Don't change the facts. Fight the issue on law. If you try to change the facts to come within the law, then questions will arise about which is legitimate, which is illegitimate.
Okay.
So don't do anything. What you have done is perfectly all right. They cannot deny zero rated benefit and demand tax from you, because payment has ultimately come in foreign exchange.
Okay, because I heard that they can take up assessment for unregistered under section
63.
Yeah.
No. Once you are registered, before registration, what all needs to be done, what all could have been done cannot now be done. You should be, because 63 says any unregistered person who has a liability or any person who is registered and his registration is cancelled. You are a person who, see, every registered person was unregistered before date of registration. Then everybody should be liable for best judgment assessment under 63. So they can't do this.
Okay, thank you, sir.
2Bಯಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮಂತ್ ಇದು 2Bಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಅದೇ ಮಂತಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಲ್ಲ?
ನೋ, ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಬರ್ದಲೇ 2B ಸಲುವಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ದಲೇ ಇರೋ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ತೊಗೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ. ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 2B ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಗೆ ಇರಲಿ, ಬರೋ ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 2B ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರಲಿ, ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನಬಲ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸ್. 2B ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದು 3B ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದು ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 3B ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿ 2B ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಕಮಿಷನರ್ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನು ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಲ್ಲೂ ಆ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಶುಡ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಸಚ್ ಎ ಸರ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೆಟರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ದ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ದ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಡ್.
ಅದು ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬರ್ತದಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ?
ಬರಲಿ, ನೋಟಿಸ್ ತಾನೆ, ನೋಟಿಸೇ ಬರಬಾರ್ದಾ?
ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ಅಂತದಿರ್ತದೆ, ತಿಂಗಳ.
ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಪ್ರತಿ ತಿಂಗಳು ಈ ಥರ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಸಿ, ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಕಂಪ್ನಿದು ಲಕ್ಷಣ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಥರ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರೋದು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿರೋ ಕಂಪ್ನಿದು ಲಕ್ಷಣ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಏನೋ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೀ ಪೇಪರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ, ಒಂದೆರಡು ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬರಲಿ, ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ದೆನ್ ದೇ ಫುಲ್ ಇಯರ್ಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ರೇಸ್ ಎನಿ ಫರ್ದರ್ ಡಿಮಾಂಡ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ನೋಟಿಸನ್ನು ಅವಾಯ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಕೆಲಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಡೆಲಿವರಿ ಆಗದಲ್ಲೇ ನೀವು ITC ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಶುರು ಆದಾಗ ದೆನ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಟೇಕನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂಡರ್ 74. ಸೊ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಬಿ ವೆರಿ ಕೇರ್ಫುಲ್. ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬರಲಿ ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ನೋಟಿಸ್ಗಳು ಬರಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿ. ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಬರಲೇಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ, ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
ಮತ್ತು RCM ಇದು ಅದು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಇದು ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. RCM ಅವರು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದವ್ರು ಮಾತ್ರ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ITC ಅದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಯಾವುದು RCM ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅದನ್ನೇ ITC ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಲ್ಲ ಅದೇ ತಿಂಗಳಲ್ಲಿ.
RCM ಯಾವ ಕ್ಯಾಟಗರಿಲಿ?
GTA ಅವರು.
GTAಲಿ, ಓಕೆ.
ಅವರು ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ITCಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಕೆಲವರು ಅನ್ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ಡ್ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ನಾವೇ ಎಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಾವು ಕಟ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ,
ಓಕೆ.
ಅದು ಸಹ ಹಾಗೆ, ಅದು ರೆಡ್ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
ರೆಡ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ತಾನೆ, ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾರು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಲ್ಲ ಉಡುಪಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ರೆಡ್ ಬಂದ್ರೂ, ಸೊ ಅಡ್ಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ ರೆಡ್ ಅಲರ್ಟ್ ಬರೋದು ನೀವೇನಾದರೂ ಮಿಸ್ಟೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಾಂಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ. ಬಟ್ ಇದು ತಿಳಿದಿದ್ದು ನೀವು ಕಟ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಡ್ಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಪೇ ದ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎಲಿಜಿಬಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್.
ಮತ್ತು ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಆನ್ ದ ವೇ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಅರ್ಧ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ?
ರೀಚ್ ಬಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿದೆ
ಅಂದರೆ ಈಗ
ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಬಿನ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಏನ? ಪಾರ್ಟಿಯೇ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ,
ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೊರಡುವ ಮುಂಚೆನೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ?
ಹೌದೌದು.
ನಮಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾದರೆ?
ಹೋಗಿ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಡಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್.
ಹೋಗಿ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ,
ತಲುಪಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಲುಪುವ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ತಲುಪ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
ಅದೇ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು,
ಮಾಡಿ
ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಹೌದೌದು. ಸಿ, ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ರೆಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ. ಯಾರೊಬ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಏನು ರೀ ನೀವು ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಜನ್ರೇಟೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಆಡಿಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೌದು ಸರ್, ಬರೋ ವರ್ಷನ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ರೆಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಪೆನಾಲ್ಟಿ. ಸೊ ಯಾವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅದು ತಪ್ಪು ಅಂತ ರಿಯಲೈಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೋ ಇಮ್ಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ಸಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ತಿದ್ದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೊಸ ಡಾಕ್ಯುಮೆಂಟ್ ರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಅವ್ರು ಹಿಡಿಯುವಾಗ ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿರೋ ಪೇಪರ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಸಾಕು.
ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದ್ದು ಥರ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಆನ್ ಜರ್ನಿ, ನಾಟ್ ದ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಯರ್. ಬಿಲ್ ಟು ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ, ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ಟು ಗೋವಾ. ಈ ಥರ
ಅವರು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು?
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಜರ್ನಿ ಮುಗೀತು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಅವ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಬೇಕಿತ್ತೋ ರೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು.
ಆ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸಿಗೆ ಅವರದ್ದು ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಇರುವುದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಬೇಡವಾ?
ನಾಟ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್. ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ನಿರ್ಬಂಧ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಇ-ವೇ ಬಿಲ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ. ರೈಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಬೇಕೇ ಬೇಕು.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ನನ್ನ
ಆ ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. IGST ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಶೆಡ್ಯೂಲ್ 3ಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೋ IGST. ಅಡ್ಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಡೀಲರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ರೈಟ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಗುಡ್ಸನ್ನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯಾರೋ ಕಸ್ಟಮರ್ಗೆ ಮಾರ್ತಾನೆ. ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತೆಗೆಯೋ ಕ್ರಮ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ 46 ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಬಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾರು ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಡೀಲರ್ ಯಾರು ಪರ್ಚೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ
ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ನ ಒಂದು ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಏರಿಯಾ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೇ ಅವನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ ಕಂಟೈನರನ್ನು ಅವನ ಅಲ್ಲಿಯ GST ನಂಬರಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ IGST ಹಾಕಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಇನ್ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಈಗ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್
GST ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟನ್ನೇ ಮಾಡಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ
ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಈಗ
ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ವಾ?
ನಾಟ್ ಅಲೌಡ್.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಒಳಗೆ
he has to pay IGST under Customs Act, not under IGST Act.
ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ. ಅವನು ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸಿಗೆ 5% IGST ಕಟ್ತಾರೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, IGST ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಗುಜರಾತ್ ಡೀಲರ್ ಕಟ್ಟೋದಾದರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎ ಇನ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್. ಗುಜರಾತ್ ಡೀಲರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಎ GST ನಂಬರ್ ಇನ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ.
ತಕ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರೀಗ.
ಇಂಥ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸೇ ನನಗೆ ಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸೇ ಬೇಡ. ಹೇಳಿದ್ ಮಾಡ್ದಲೇ ಇರೋ ಕ್ಲೈಂಟ್ಸೇ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಂಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ GST ನಂಬರ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಲೋಕಲ್ ಬಿಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಅದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದು ಪುನಃ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್ನು ಅದು ಇದು ಲೇಬರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. ಅದೇ ಕಂಟೈನರನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್
ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಮಾಡೋ ಹಾಗಿಲ್ಲ
ಮಾಡ್ತಾ
ಸರ್. ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಈಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲೊಕೇಟೆಡ್.
ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳೋದು ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ವೇರ್ ಹೌಸ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೇರ್ತದೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಅವ್ರು ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತಂದಾಯ್ತು.
ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರದವರೇ.
ಎಸ್
ಎಸ್, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಬಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲೇ ಉಂಟು.
ಸೊ ಹಾಗಿರುವಾಗ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಒಳಗೆ ಅವರು ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬೀದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
ಬೀದಿಯಲ್ಲ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್. ಔಟ್ಸೈಡ್ ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ ಬಾರ್ಡರ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಬೀದಿಯಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್.
ನಾನು ಕಳಿಸ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಅವರನ್ನು.
ಕಳಿಸಿ ಸರ್.
ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಕನ್ಸಲ್ಟೆಂಟ್.
ಶೋರ್ ಶೋರ್,
ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲಲ್ಲ.
ಶೋರ್ ಶೋರ್.
ವಿಷಯ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 2 ನಂಬರ್ ಇದೆ.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ಒಂದು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದು ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಮಾರುವಾಗ IGST, ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಮಾರುವಾಗ SGST ಮತ್ತು CGST ಎರಡು ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ.
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅವರಿಗೆ?
ಕೆಲವರಿಗಿದೆ, ಕೆಲವರಿಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ದಿದ್ದವರು IGST ಹಾಕಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ಹಾಂ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲದಿರೋರು ಅವರು ಸಹ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ.
ನಾವು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೋಡೌನು ಅದು ಇದು ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ
ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ
ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೇಕು.
He'll file a bill of entry. ಕಸ್ಟಮ್ಸ್ಗೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್. ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸರ್. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಸೇಮ್ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ, ಅವರು ತುಂಬ ಕ್ಲಿಯರಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೇಮ್. He has to take registration in Karnataka if they are taking the goods outside the custom station. ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಫೈಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದಾದರೆ ಅವರು GST ನಂಬರ್ ತೊಗೋಬೇಕು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ. ತೊಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ಹೇಳಿ. ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಿ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅವರು ಕಂಪನಿ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಉದ್ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಫೈರ್ ಫೈಟರ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮಂಜಸವಾಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಬೇಕು. ಇವರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಟ್ರಿಮ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ ಅಂತ ವೈಟ್ ಶರ್ಟ್ ಬ್ಲೂ ಪ್ಯಾಂಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪರ್ಸ್ನಲ್ ಇನ್ ನೇಚರ್. ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರಿ ವೇಕರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಮೇಡಮ್.
ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಈ ಕೆಲವು ಡ್ರೆಸ್ಸುಗಳು ಮೆಷಮರಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿ ಬೀಳ್ತವೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ಯಾಂಟು ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ಯೂನಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೆಷಮರಿಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಓಟಾಟ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವರು ಇದು ಶಾಲ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರೆ ಲೇಡೀಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ, ಅವರದ್ದು ವೇಲು ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿ ಬೀಳ್ತವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಕೋಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ? ಕೋಟ್ ಇದ್ದ ಕಾರಣ ಅದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಪೋರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇವೆ. ಹಾಗೆ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫೈ, ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್.
ಇಫ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಫೈ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿಸಬಲ್.
ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇದು ಫುಡ್ಡು, ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಫುಡ್ ಅಲೌಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ITC.
ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಫುಡ್
ITC ಫಾರ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಫುಡ್ ನಾವು ಕಾರ್ಮಿಕರಿಗೆ ಊಟ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ಅದು ITC ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫುಡ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್
ಫ್ರೀ
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಎಲಿಜಿಬಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ITC ಅಂಡರ್ 17(5)(b).
ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟು, ಒಂದು ಸಲ
ಮಧ್ಯ
ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟು ಮಾಡಿ ಇಫ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ITC
ಆನ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಟೀನ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿಸಬಲ್.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ನಾಳೆ ನೋಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.
ಅದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂಟರಿ ಆಗಿ ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದ್ದು ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವಾಗ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ.
ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಚ್ಯೂಟರಿ ಒಬ್ಲಿಗೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯವಾಗಿ ಮುಂಚಿನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ತೊಗೊಳೋದು ಯಾವತ್ತು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬೋದು. ಫುಡ್ ಕೊಡಿ, ಫುಡ್ನ ನಿಲ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಡಿ. 5% ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಫುಡ್ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಬೇಡಿ. ಫುಡ್ ಕೊಡಿ, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಫುಡ್ಡಲ್ಲಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಅವರು ಅಸಲ ಫಸ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಅದು ನಂತರ ಉಂಟು, ನಾಳೆ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ಪುನಃ. ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ITC. ಬಸ್ಸು
ಮೋಟರ್ ವೆಹಿಕಲ್
14 ಜನಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೇಲಿದ್ರೆ
13 ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಮೋರ್ ದೆನ್ 13 ಪೀಪಲ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಎಸ್ ಸರ್. ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸರ್ತಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್. ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಸಿಟಿ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು ಮೇಡಮ್, ತಗೊಳ್ಬೋದು.
In my case, my client is registered in Gujarat. Now they have gathered few employees in Pune, and they've opened an office there on a rental basis. Now that Pune office works as a back office, and no invoice is raised, sale invoice is raised from that Pune. So do I have to take registration at Pune? And I do not want to take ITC at Pune.
Pune office is outside Gujarat.
Yeah.
So it is a distinct person, it is a fixed establishment. You have to take registration. Pune office has to charge Gujarat office all expenditure and charge GST at 18%.
Okay, Gujarat office, they are raising invoice to outside India, export of service.
So this Pune to Gujarat ITC Gujarat can take and go for refund after they export to the foreign customer.
Okay, but is it mandatory to
mandatory?
Okay.
Because aggregate turnover all India basis has exceeded 20 lakhs.
Okay, and they have to cross bill
apply.
Okay. And another thing, these clients keeps traveling to some places and they stay there and they claim an ITC. Is
not possible.
It shouldn't be.
Not
and
possible.
anything that goes to staff welfare expenses, ITC should not be claimed.
No, anything that goes to staff welfare, that is not the best test. Okay. Within the staff welfare, if the expenditure is predominantly for the benefit of the employer, ITC can be claimed. If it is predominantly, or ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕೋಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕೊಡಿಸಿದ್ರೆ that is predominantly for the employer, but ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧಾರಣ ಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಕಂಪನಿ ಕೊಡಿಸಿದ್ರೆ that is substantially for the benefit of employee.
Okay, and say for example they have set up a meeting and for that particular meeting they have given a dress with some printed logo of company in it. can they claim ITC on that particular invoice?
After the meeting, they have to leave the dress there and go.
They can take it, they are going to take it
Therefore,
home.
it is not eligible.
Okay.
Sir? ಇಲ್ಲ ಆ ಥರ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಡಾಮಿನೆಂಟ್ ಇರೋದಾದರೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
And they have gone for a vacation. Can we substantiate saying that they have gone for a business meeting and claim that credit?
If you can tell lies nicely, anything you can justify.
No, but food is anyway is out of scope. I mean, food, anything on the food,
Correct,
ITC
correct.
cannot be taken.
Correct.
But will this travel and stay in particular lodge also comes under that, or?
Correct. You have to justify. If the company has customers in Africa and they are going to Bangkok for meeting, it is highly questionable, isn't it? But if you can justify, you can get away with murder.
Thank you, sir.
Held in head office, of course you can claim. Yes. But if they are having this board meeting in a vacation destination, that is a problem.
No, in my case it was Goa, so I don't think I can claim that.
That by itself may not be sufficient to deny the credit, but if you say that because of all the distractions, Goa was the closest destination for organizing this meeting, except accommodation, other things you can claim credit because it will be IGST.
Airfare expense.
All that you can
ITC.
claim. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Correct.
A customer is
Receipt
not,
voucher you have to issue. Rule
Receipt.
50, you have to issue a receipt voucher.
in that we have to put GST.
You have to pay GST. Whether you collect it from your customer or not, you have to pay the GST.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.